Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on the Avalon. I have concerns about the transmission, and thinking about it, I never changed the transmission fluid. So what I'm going to do today is just drain whatever drains out of the pan and replace the filter and gasket, and then replace the transmission with the amount of fluid that I pulled out of it. So let me show you the mileage on it. I bought the car in 2015. It was 2 years old, and I believe it had right around 15,000 miles on it. And I've driven it since then without changing the transmission fluid or servicing the transmission at all. It's been fine, no problems, but we're gonna swap out a little bit of transmission fluid, clean the pan, clean the magnets, and put a new filter in, a new gasket. So let's get started. The engine is a 6-cylinder, and I don't know the specifics on the transmission, but all I know is that I got this filter, paper filter, and gasket, and I ended up buying 6 quarts of ATF, and so I doubt that we're going to be draining 6 quarts. It's probably going to be closer to 2 to 3, maybe 4 at the most, or thereabouts. But what we've got to do is, I had to pull the wheel off, and that's in order to get to the transmission. And here's the transmission fill plug. So the only way to fill it is from the side, and it does not have a top mount fill plug. So I pulled that out to fill this. This little cover covers that, and so that was a. Let's see. It's metric. It's a 10 millimeter to get these guys out, these shield nuts, and then I used a 15/16 wrench to get the fill plug out. And the fill plug has a copper seal. I have a bag of these. I didn't get one in the filter, but I think I've got some of those. So that's how we're going to fill it. But the bottom side is relatively easy to get to. So right here is the pan. Where am I here? Here's the pan, and the bolts are easy to get to, with the exception maybe this one. It's kind of close to the frame. So we're going to pop those out, and from my understanding, this little plug is I think it has a hollowed out inner, but I'm not certain how this comes out. It may be, I think it's like a hard plastic. But anyway, if you overfill the transmission with ATF, it will come out of this little hole. I don't really want to try that, but I'm going to drop this pan and drain, make a mess, drain out some fluid. We'll measure how much fluid we get out, and that'll determine how much we put back in, because I'm not going to do a flush. It's just going to be a drain. Well, it never fails. There's always some kind of hang-up. And the hang-up with this job is trying to get these, the pan bolts out. And there's a shadow there now. But let me Try to get the light over here better. The pan bolts are all generally very accessible, as you can see there, but I took out these back two, and they are extremely difficult to get to. I couldn't get a socket in here because of this part of the frame is just blocking it. So I had to use a inch by inch. It's like an eighth of a turn at a time. Then I had to re-grip another eighth of a turn, and it just took me a long time. So it took about an hour to get this one bolt out, and that's the hardest one. So now I should be home free. I got this one out real quick, but I just wanted to make sure I could get the most difficult one out before I continued on with this job. Otherwise, I'd get to that point, and if I couldn't get it out, I'd be stuck. So anyway, I'm gonna take out all these other bolts and drop the pan, and I'll see what this transmission fluid looks like. I'm sure it's very, very dark. Okay, we're at the point where we got the pan off, and at a glance it looks okay, but I'll clean it out and we'll take a look to see how much metal or whatever is in there. But right now we got to work on getting this filter out, and I matched up the filter that I bought. It looks like it's the right one. There is an O-ring here, so when we pull off the old filter, we'll get the O-ring out of there so we don't have it doubled up. And it takes there are two mounting holes. I'll show you on the new filter. Two mounting holes, and they take a 10 millimeter, so it's going to go up there like that with 10 millimeter bolt. So let me get that off. I can't really film because I don't have a good way to mount my camera underneath the car while I'm doing it. So I'm going to take the filter off, and then we'll get a good look at this pan and also check into the filter to see if there's much debris there. But as far as the color, when it was dripping and draining out, it didn't look terribly dark. So, but we'll get a close look at it. Well, we got the new filter on. Pretty straightforward. Two bolts and an O-ring. We got the old O-ring out of there and peeled off the gasket. This is like a metal gasket. The new one from Beck Arnley is a rubber. So rubber. This one is fine. So I don't know. Guessing we've got about 3 quarts out of there, but I'll measure that to make sure, and we'll take a close look at the fluid too. I'm trying to bring off the pan. There's certainly no sludge in there, and it doesn't look like there's a lot of metal on this. Well, yeah, there's some metal, but it's not bad for a car that's 11 years old. Yeah, that's natural, that's normal. As far as I can tell, it looks like the filter is doing its job. It's a little dark on the paper filament, but that's normal. So I'm going to clean up this pan and get it prepped to go back on. We'll put the gasket on with some of the bolts, and then we'll measure out to see how much fluid is that we've got to put back in. It's kind of tough to do one-handed filming and cleaning, but well, maybe this isn't a metal. It's almost, well, it feels, yeah, it's probably some type of real soft metal that sealed up. It did a good job until I got the last 2 bolts out. It didn't start to drip out. So that was good. I never had any leaks from the transmission. And I have, like I said before, I have never had any problems with it. So, you know, for the car's got right around 150,000 miles on it, and I just want to keep it running as good as possible for the longest time, because I keep a car as long as I can until it starts to die or starts to be expensive to repair. These magnets come out, and I'm surprised. I'm very happy that they look pretty clean with a normal amount of metal. Toyotas are great. I love Toyota cars. For many years, I was really opposed to buying a foreign car, and during the time that GM and Ford were having difficulties and they just could not make a car that would last, and had a lot of problems. And I mean, all cars have problems, but it seems like Toyotas and Hondas just last a long, long time. And I should easily get another 150,000 miles out of this car. And the key is to maintain it. Keep up with the maintenance. This is and I'm guilty of not doing that. This is the first time I've opened up the transmission and changed the fluid and the filter. So I'm guilty for not doing that, but I religiously change the oil every 5,000 miles. And regardless of what the maintenance schedule says. What happened to that one magnet? I thought I heard a magnet catch on this. Oh, there it is. Regardless of what the maintenance manual says, or oil companies say, yep, you can change it every 10,000, but no, I just don't believe that the oil is good. The oil will last. Viscosity and all of its properties, yeah, will last, but it's the dirt from the blow-by, from the exhaust blow-by in the cylinder, and all the other contaminants that it gets dirty with. That's why you have to change it out. So, yep, every 5,000 miles, and I do that on all my cars. Some people do it every 3,000 miles, but 5 seems to be a reasonable distance and time. There's been some guys that have done studies and done analysis on oil after 3,000 miles, after 5,000, 10,000, and even longer. And it's interesting to see those results. Yeah, 5,000. All right, these magnets are looking pretty good. And there's 2 spots where they've got little notches. They go right there. And this one goes here. So the pan is just about ready to go in. Let me see. That's good. Gasket looks like it matches up perfect. And I'll start a few of these bolts through here so it stays lined up. The one bolt that's the most difficult it's just going to take time. So if you do this job on a 2013 Avalon, be sure you've got the patience to deal with one bolt that just takes forever to get it out. And I don't have a ratcheting box wrench, so I think that probably would have helped me a lot. I just don't have one. And that was a 10 millimeter. These are 10 millimeter bolts. Let's see. That does not belong there. I got all these mixed up in this pan. I picked up the wrong bolt. It's a short bolt. All right, this one looks much better. All right, so let me set that aside for now. And we're gonna get to that, back to that in a minute, but let's take a look at this. Again, the filter, not bad at all. I don't see any metal filings in there, which is good, so that's going in the trash. In the pan, it still has a nice red color, slightly brown, but it's not burnt. So that looks good. And then this, I think what I'm gonna do, just to be able to see the color again, that's mostly red, which is normal color for ATF. So yeah, it's dirty, but looks really pretty good. All right, so I am going to get the pan back on, and then we'll go over to the wheel well again at the fill point, that fill tube. I've got to get a fill tube and a funnel so that we can fill this up, and then we'll measure out what we have here. So I've got to empty a few of these quarts. And I got the Toyota ATF WS, which is recommended. So what we'll do, we'll put the pan back on so that I can start to fill it up. I'll empty one of these, and then I'll start to pour the old stuff into an empty container and measure out how many quarts we need to put back into the car. I made myself a funnel hose, and then that goes directly into this opening on the side of the transmission. Hopefully it'll stay in there while I'm pouring it. And let me back it a little bit. And that'll be the process of getting transmission fluid back in. So I'm gonna put in one quart, and then I'll go ahead and measure what we took out. And there it goes. Could take a little while to put it all in here. So let me fill this up with this 1 quart, and we'll see how much we took out. Okay, the tricky part is getting the oil in here without spilling it too much. And I had a funnel, and let me go try to find that funnel. Okay, found the funnel. So I'm gonna put this in this quart jar. Okay. Avoid spilling it. Let me check. See how close we are. Looks like almost there. Just a bit more. And there's 1 quart. My guess is it's going to be a little over 2, like 2.5 quarts. All right, there's 2. It comes up close to a half, so 2.5 quarts plus whatever little bit I spilled with a little bit that's splattered. So I'm going to put 2 3/4 quarts in it. And we'll put everything back together and we'll take it for a little test drive. Here's 2. And 3 quarts. We'll just pour it in here. That's it. These go down. There you go. There's that 4 quart. Like that. And just bring it up. Fill it a little bit. Alright. And just here. You just press up here. Press it up. And launcher. And put it right on this. It's like the launcher. That's why it's bring this. And so it's there. Oh, and get in here. See over here. And there you go. Yeah, just once you get the door of the drainage wall. Bring this up over and get it deeper. So yeah, I've got drips in there. Let me get this plug one here. Like I said, it has a washer, and I'm going to just try going with this. This looks like it's a steel washer. I thought it was a copper washer that squashes, but we're going to go with this and get on there. So this is a 15/16 inch bolt, and if I can get it in here, I'll be home free. Anybody can do this job if you have patience. Once you get the cover of the transmission off, to replace the oil, the filter and gasket, that's the easy part. The hard part is getting to all that stuff. So that's the difficulty. I'll snug this up a little bit. It was not real tight when I took it off. And this car was a certified used car from a Toyota dealer in 2015. So I don't know if they would have done this change or not, but it's worth doing. I've read and heard that the recommended intervals is like 35,000 miles, but you know, I put on over 125,000 and it looks pretty good, but it was overdue. All right, let's get this cleaned up. I'm gonna put these two nuts on here, 2 bolts to secure this plastic cover. And then we'll have a look underneath, and then we'll take it for a test drive. Now it's all put back together, cleaned up around. I'm trying to get this light in here if it stays on. Wiped everything down so that in case I do have a leak somewhere, I'll be able to tell where it's coming from. But I snugged up those bolts. Oh, my light's dying on me. they're all snugged up, and I got the wheel back on. And let's just drop her down here. Got the cover back on. Easy does it now. Yep. I better double check, make sure I got all the jack stands out there. Yep, they're out. So ended up putting 2 3/4 quarts of ATF in, and I bought a box of 6. So the next time I do it, I'll probably be putting in about the same thing, and somewhat less than 3/4. And I do plan to do that change a little bit more frequently than like 125,000 miles. I'll probably do it in, I don't know, 30, somewhere between 30 to 50,000. And but everything looked good. I guess so. The next thing to do is take it for a test ride, make sure it shifts, goes in reverse, and so let's just see how that works out. Let's go for a test ride. Well, tire pressure monitor, that should turn off. It's been, well, it may be because I removed the wheel from the car, but it's been chilly, so that's typical of the cold weather. So it goes into reverse, no problem. Let's get out here, clear of everything. And we'll see. That's drive. Reverse. All right, let's go out and see how this thing shifts. All right, let's see. Oh, take a ride down the road here. Wait for a few cars to go by. The tire pressure monitor warning went out. There's second, third gear. Pretty smooth. We'll take a look at the underneath the car when we get back, make sure nothing's spewing out. I don't suspect there is, but it's just worth a check. And if that all looks good, I'll drive it around next few days and I'll double check just to make sure that it's sealed up and no leaks. But if it is leaking, I'll snug up the pan bolts a little bit more. No slippage. All right. Feels good. Dashboard is clear. I'll just go up here. It's like a half mile and turn around. Clear here. All right, I think we're good. brakes, so I'll add this. So at 146,000 miles, transmission filter, transmission dump the pan, and put in 2 3/4 quarts of ATF. So back to my driveway, and it looks like everything's pretty clean, and I think that's successful. Let me shut this thing off. No warning, no problem. All right, I'm happy about that. So there it is, one successful job done. And that's the first time I've opened up the Avalon's transmission. I didn't dig into it. I don't really want to. I hope I never have to. But we got the little bit of the ATF changed out, new filter, cleaned off the magnets. They were just slightly dirty with some just slight metal on them. Nothing, no big deal. There was no sludge in the bottom of the pan. And so I think that transmission is in good shape as far as I can tell. And I don't drive it hard, so it should last another, I hope, 150,000 miles. So that's it for this video. We're gonna get back on the 51 pickup. And I just wanted to say, this job would, changing out the transmission fluid would have been a whole lot easier if I would have put it up on my lift, but the lift is tied up with the truck project and the 34 Ford's all on top there, so I couldn't really do that easily. It was just as well that I used a floor jack and crawled on the floor. It wasn't that bad. So that's it, and I hope you guys learned something. If you haven't ever done it before, it's all doable, and it's recommended to change out some of the fluid and check out change the filter, check everything underneath within the transmission, and it'll give you a little bit longer life. Toyotas are great cars. I'm gonna buy another one if I have to, but all my classics and hot rods are American-made cars. So, oh, there's my little doggy, Gracie. All right, so that's it for now, and I just wanted to thank you, and we'll see you the next time. Thanks.